In Web3, it's going down. It's actually down. Hello all and welcome all. I'm your host, Boo. And today we have a jam-packed show for you with a great special guest. Tune in. Yo, hello everybody and welcome everybody. Turn down those headphones if you got them up because your earphones are about to get blown out. We are live on Rug Radio episode 44, baby. We just keep going. We haven't missed a show yet since October 2022. We bring it back every week, every time at 6, and we love it and we love you. Thank you for showing up. If you're loving what you're hearing, if you're loving what you're seeing, because yes, we are live on YouTube, baby. You can check us out on YouTube Live. You can listen to us on X. You can do both. If you have a smart device, you got YouTube Premium, you can watch the video, mute it, and listen to us. You can do it all. We're merging the worlds here, okay? If you're liking the space, go ahead, share it out, please. Tag somebody that would love to hear it. We got an incredible guest for y'all today. Incredible guest. I'm so pumped to get them on today. I'm glad they said yes and they didn't say no. So let me run it with the DYOR, the red tape, all right? We do this show for 1 hour. That's it. Laser focus. First 30 minutes entirely on our special guest. Kick up those feet. Relax. We're going to pour one out. And then last 30 minutes, open mic Q&A. You want to come up, ask questions, throw some flowers, throw some love, be respectful. And we love you for that. All right. With that, we encourage y'all to give us feedback. Drop a comment, drop a question. You know what I'm saying? All of this, all the opinions on here are those of ours. We're not giving out any financial advice, DYOR, and check back our previous episodes because we've wallet guarded it. We've checked out everything. We've safe links, all that. Please, we care about our audience. With that, I got to check on my co-host, JPEG J. How are you today?
Hello. I am speaking to you all with my new face. I just updated my VRM and I am now wearing my Sapiens design that I submitted to the show, and I feel spiffy as heck.
You are looking incredible. And if you're watching the YouTube right now, I'm wearing my Clone X filter with my robot DNA shirt and my robot vest, baby. Oh, and shout out Artifact for throwing those YKK zippers on it because I would only put my life on a YKK zipper. If it doesn't have YKK, fuck it, throw it in the trash. That's the only zipper out there. I fucking literally would put anybody's life on that zipper. And these are YKK. We love it. Check me out. I'm looking so fly on the feed. Oh, yeah, we're looking good. All right, with that, I got to give a warm welcome and an incredible introduction to our special guest today, Golden Crypto, who I just, we linked up. I think it was like after October, November last year, and we started talking, having meetings every day. How could I be a better host? How could I be a better creator within the Rug Radio ecosystem? I said, well, you know what I need to do? I need to get a jingle. I need to be on brand. And he got me that jingle. He hooked me up with J6 in the audience, who also did the Aqua Teen Hunger Force jingle, baby. Yes, there's somebody knows everybody in the space. We're 6 degrees of separation. You never know. And with that, Golden and I, we've been talking every single week. I got to meet this beautiful person down at Art Basel, Miami. So we've broken bread IRL. Yeah, I got his digits. Yeah, I called him. I said, get in here. You're almost going to be late. We did all that, but we have fun with it. And with that, I want to give a warm welcome to Golden. How are you today, Golden?
What is up, man? What a freaking introduction. You got me all hype. I think I could run through a wall right now. I am loving it, man. That is just beautiful music to my ears, man. I love it. Just got a big old smile over here. I'm feeling good. I feel like, I don't know. I'm like, I need to go get the lotto tickets after this. I don't even know what I need to do, but I need to do something after that, man. That's just wonderful, man. Amazing. Thank you for that.
Dude, y'all got to check out the feed. I got the boy's veins popping out over here. I got him super hyped. You can't hide that genuine vibes when you're seeing it. And I love it that I got him on video stream because this video thing is incredible. And that's something we're going to get to talk about because if y'all have been following Golden for a while, he's been doing the audio thing. And then he started doing the StreamYard thing. And he got us all here So let's go back a little bit, Golden. Here, I'll turn it down. I'll turn down the notch a little bit. I'll turn it down here. Let's go back all the way here. How far do we want to go back? Let's go back to like where you were born and raised, man. Let's get to know you a little bit more about you before we just jump into the Web3 crypto stuff. Is that cool with
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, yeah, of course it's cool, man. It's course. Like I'm a California native, man. Like I go back my on my mom's side, we go back like 7 generations in California. We are just so Californian out here, man. I was raised in this little hunky dunk town called Merino Valley in the Inland Empire, where I say nothing nice happens. It's like towards the desert, out in the east, where it's just like grimy. Like it's like nickname is the Murder Valley because it's just grimy people who wish they were from LA, like out there trying to do their thing and live life, right? Everybody's trying to get to the city where I was from, or get the heck out of there in particular. But yeah, I've been California like all my life, man, pretty much. Like I lived in Florida for a little bit just for school. Like I went to school out there. Uh, in my past life, I was a mechanic, man. Like I used to work on cars. Like my whole life, I've worked with my hands, like construction, cars, mechanic, painting, all this stuff, man. And only recently did I like switch to this digital life. But yeah, I lived in like Orlando. The middle of Orlando really sucks. I have nothing nice to say about that place either. And San Diego for a long time too. Like I love San Diego. I think that's where I'm gonna rest my head eventually. It's a beautiful place down there. But the whole coast, man, I just love California. Up, down, left, right, center, middle. It's where I'm at. It's what I'm about.
I absolutely love that you pointed out that you used to work on car mechanics. I believe you're like the third person we've had on our show that did that in a previous life too. And I'm just curious how that has incorporated over to content creation and podcasting and all that. That's incredible. And you've also mentioned to me that you did dabble a little bit in some graffiti, Talk to us about that because I we got to plug the graffiti because this is exit through the metaverse, baby.
Yeah, yeah, you're dang right, man. Yeah, I mean that, part of my, hoodlum delinquent life. Like that was just fun way to pass the time, man. Like, I was always drawing. I consider myself an artist, even though I haven't like put my stuff out there. I'm not like a bold artist trying to sell all my stuff, but I'm definitely artistic, right? So always just drawing stuff. And then me and my hoodlum friends, I used to skate too, like rollerblade skate, and we would just go like we thought. I don't know if you ever played like Jet Set Radio. We thought we were out of that game, man, just running around like listening to music and like tagging stuff up on our roller skates, man. Like it was really fun back then. But yeah, I used to tag mas like more in Spanish. That was my little my handle, if you will, back then. And because I was just greedy, I was always wanting more, right? Like I just was never satisfied. That wasn't really like ever part of who I was. I just always felt like I had to go and pursue more and get more. So yeah, that's where it was. And then the mechanic thing, right? Like that just came from curiosity and trying to figure stuff out. Like I liked fast cars, loud cars, and all that. And it translates very, very little into this digital content creation world. Like not a whole lot there, but the way to go about thinking about problems and all of that. I mean, that stuff that goes on forever. Like it, in the mechanic school, if you will. Like I went to UTI trade school, got trained by BMW, all that stuff. But like their biggest message through all of that was it's not like being able to be a good mechanic is not like knowing how to fix every problem, but it's more so about knowing where to find the information to do that. And that's a lesson that can like transfer over into anything, right? Like anything that you want to do, it's just about being able to access and find the information in order to do it, right? And now we're in this super information era where we can look on YouTube. You can go find a guide on just about anything, right? You could probably build a rocket. I think you can 3D print a gun if you wanted. Like it's outrageous what you could do. So like that part, like finding information and utilizing it, that part definitely transferred over. But my hands, that's a whole nother world.
I'm glad you actually talked about that because when you brought up Jet Set Radio, it kind of led into my other question. You mentioned Street Fighter before, and I'm like, dude, someone who like understands graffiti, art, and then like video games, like it was pretty easy for you to like get into Web3. I'm sure. Do you mind telling us like when that discovery was, like when Web3, when crypto first came into your life?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So again, just me being my greedy self trying to make some money. I was like, yeah, I think there's something to be done here in crypto. I'm, just curious, bought like I did the typical path of just buying like some Bitcoin, then I bought some ETH, and then started looking at all the other stuff that was available at that time. And I got really curious with Web3 through Coinbase, I think is how that route happened. Like they had just something talking about dApps. And once I learned like the word dApps, right? Like once I saw that word, like and saw like there was money attached to things like sushi and like all these fun, like, kind of like, I don't know, like culture things attached to money that I was already like really fascinated with anyways, and gaming, like it wasn't quite the way I thought it was back then, but it was still enough to get me curious and start looking into some of this stuff, right? Like making a wallet. Like when I started my whole Web3 journey, I just had my phone, man. I didn't even have like a, a legit laptop, a computer, nothing, because I was just really off the grid in that way. So started building stuff up to like facilitate the crypto world. And the first win I really had was freaking Shib, man. Like freaking the old Shiba, man. Like that thing, I made a decent bag off that. It wasn't much, man. It was like, I think all in all, I probably made like a couple grand off of Shiba. But after that, like I was just like light bulbs and like all in, like, what do I got to do to get more? Because I see like if I won and I know absolutely nothing, like there's got to be like people just winning gigantic bags and making their whole living off this, right? And again, like thinking of stuff like sushi swap and all this stuff, pancake swap, like I just love that idea of like making money with these fun little concepts. So I kept just digging in and got curious about NFTs, but I was terrified of it too because I didn't have like somebody that knew about it, right? Like there wasn't like somebody in my life that I could talk to about it, or even a friend that was curious about it and we could do it together. None of that. So I was just looking on like Google and regular resources trying to find information. And my very first thing that I got, I didn't buy it because it was free, was Parallel, the Parallel Alpha. Well, it was called Parallel Alpha at that time. Now it's just Parallel TCG, I think. And I got curious because there was like huge investments into that company, right? Like there was like they had some major funding round. Their initial round was huge, and they had heavy hitters in that. And to me, that was enough to like get curious and want to get involved. But they had like a faucet at that time, like they gave away a free card for just, jumping through some hoops and signing up, the typical thing. They still do that. Like, well, they up to this year, I know they still had some of their faucet cards going on. And that was my first thing. And it was like terrifying because I still had to pay gas for it, right? Like you still had to do that part. And I'm sure everybody remembers that first transfer of any type of fund. It's just terrifying going for, and you're trying to get like a picture, right? Like the end result is having this little picture in your wallet. So that alone, all that whole experience is just crazy, right? Did that, and then wanted to actually like make an investment. My very first NFT I bought was this thing called the Chameleon Collective. Like shout out to the chameleons. There was like a little community thing, and the collection never did anything. Like it just went down forever. It was like a 0.05 mint. I minted it. Like that was the first thing I did. I didn't buy like an old thing. I minted something exciting, right? Lottery feeling. You don't know what the heck is going to go on. I loved my little chameleon at the time. I still do. Like I like the art. The art was really cool. I don't care what anybody says, right? I love the art. Like so like that part was really cool. But the community was special because I think there was a lot of different people that got involved with that collection trying to do the same type of thing, that just had curiosity, and maybe this was their first collection that they got into. So there was like a really cool little community that wasn't really tainted. Like we didn't, the whale of that community was also the dev. Like there wasn't like this huge, crazy financial swing that ever happened and just messed it all up. So a lot of those people I still talk to, the few that are still, doing their thing. And yeah, from after that, it was a wrap, man. Like just down the rabbit hole from there. I think the first big collection I got into was Alien Friends. And I'm still I'm a hardcore alien all day, every day. Alien Friends, shout out to all the aliens out there. That whole community just changed my whole Web3 world and really like sent me down the rabbit hole. Like I was in there, I was swimming, but that was where it was just game over, man.
Wow, Jazz, thank you so much with all that. And by answering that, you answered like a bunch of other questions. You told us what was the first project you minted, which I love. And like, yo, everybody who's listened to this recorded space right now, there's a reason why Golden is at Rug Radio, okay? There's a reason they're chameleons. They've been back on Rug Radio before. Parallel, they just launched their thing. I mean, dude, you got a good head on your shoulders. So let's get into that. How did you get involved with Rug Radio? Please tell us.
I love this story, man, because I was just a fan, right? Just trying to figure it out, like who was who. I made my own map of the influencers at that time. Like I made my own little list, and kind of just assessed them and judged them on my own. Like, no, you're not supposed to judge people, whatever. I don't care. I was like, yeah, this guy's good, this guy's bad. I don't care. Like, so Farouk fell on my good list just for me observing him. I didn't know whatever he did in his past or whatever he's gonna do, whatever, it didn't none of that shit mattered. It's just like, what am I seeing? Here's my optics, and I'm gonna keep checking you out. It was him. I had him on there. The other big winner I had on my list was Pawns from The Plague. Like he was a winner influencer for me, like at that time, just because I watched them. I liked how they moved. I liked what they talk about, right? So boom, I'm in. Minted that. I don't know how the heck I minted my Rug Radio NFT at the time. I couldn't afford it. I could not afford that mint, man. Like it was a risk, like minting that thing at that time. Like I remember that, like, I'm just gonna do it. Fuck it. Like, here we go. So I did that and just was like an active community member, right? Like just like anybody, trying to make noise and trying to get noticed by whatever's going on, because at that time I didn't think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna work for them. But I knew that I did want to get more involved, right? I know that I wanted to get more saturated somehow, like more exposure. Like I remember seeing like Ed Balloon, shout out Ed Balloon. I would see Ed Balloon on the stages, man, and just hearing his voice like up on these big giant stages to me was inspiring, right? Like, man, here's a black voice. I hear him. He's on stage. He's doing it. So that to me means it's not like that type of gatekeeping going on, right? There's a chance like I could get up there. I could be involved with this stuff. So that was my motivation. And after a while, I started just hosting my own spaces, like based on that motivation. Like I held community. It was called Community Plus Vibes. That was my an unofficial Rug Radio. Like I threw that badge on it because they weren't accepting applications for hosts at that time. Like it was all at the beginning. They had like 8 or 9 original hosts, and that was it. So I just started running my own. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this unofficial. Like, let's go. And like maybe like the second or third show, Farouk pops in, right? Like he like hops in there and just shows up. And it was after one of his huge spaces he went to. So a huge train of like people came in there, man. Like I remember like there was some like OXB1, like the mutant guy. He was in that. There was a whole list of people in that space that just had no business being in my space at that time, right? So from then I just got hooked on that thing. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna just keep doing spaces. I'm gonna be a host, like, because I enjoy it. Like, I like talking on the mic. Like, I like vibing with people, seeing what's going on with them. That whole world, right? Um, and from there, it was like town halls, reg radio town halls, any way I could to make noise. That's what I was doing, right? Kept going down that path back to the alien friends. There was this one of the aliens. Her name was Bree D'Onofrio. Shout out to Bree. She's gone from the space now, but shout out to her. But she was the one that planted the seed in my head that I could get a job in Web3. So like that's why I always give praise to her, because that before that, like I wasn't thinking like that. I was just like, I want to be involved, but working in the space was not even like something I even conceived, right? She was like, no, do it. This is how you're gonna do it. Like quote tweet Farouk, do this, boom, 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 and then watch. Everything I did her exact playbook and it worked, right? I got like a shout out from Farouk like on the timeline saying like, yeah, maybe we do have a job for him somewhere. Ha ha ha. And it just like that whole thing started from there. And then after that, it was just like constant like nudging and pushing to like, get somebody like that to commit to what the heck they're talking about. And that's a whole nother story. But that's how it started, man. Like just ambition, drive, making noise, like wanting to get noticed and actually doing something to do that, right? Not just like throwing my hand up, it didn't work. Oh, well, like push, push, push. And man, it played out.
I love that story. It's the first time Golden's ever told me that story, and it relates to the whole Rug Radio vibe, right? I was picked up by Loxley and Farouk because I was in my own spaces doing my own thing. They're like, yo, you need to come on here, right? Just like with Jazz, right? And we have that beautiful chemistry, you know what I'm saying? So the reason why I definitely had to have Jazz on here is because we're pushing more creators, right? We're pushing the Rug Radio creators. There's a lot of us out there that are doing it, and we're starting to team up more, collaborate more, because the thing I look at it is some people are like, well, wait a minute, that person was on this show and that person was on that Rug Radio show. Well, guess what, y'all? When a movie drops, let's say Barbie, right? Ryan Gosling, beautiful man that he is, he hits all the late night shows. He hits every single one on the same networks. It doesn't matter, okay? And that's exactly what I think Rug Radio is doing here, and I love being a part of it. So, Jazz, could you tell us now, obviously you've picked up a little more roles now, you're looking out for all of our creators now. You were just executive producing the show. Now you're like create the king of the creators. What does a typical day look like for you as the Rug Radio guy now?
Man, it's dynamic. It's fluid. It's like one day it's this, the next day it's that. The consistent thing in my day is the GM show, right? The GM Web3 show every morning, same time, same place. Like That's why I love Farouk and the boys, because they're consistent. Like, they're low key addicted to this shit just like the rest of us. Like, they got to do that show. Like, otherwise it messes them up. So that part of my day is always consistent, and I'm up early, right? Like, I'm on the West Coast. I'm in California, and that show is starts at 7:30 my time in the morning, and there's a lot of stuff that has to be done before the show. So I'm up and at 'em, which is also my personality. Like, I'm a morning person. I like being up. Like, um up before sunrise is the way to go, man. Like, it just it gets the day started, and that's a motivation to do that. So it sets my day off right. Like, just it gets that whole part going. And then after that, like, anything could be going on after the show. Like, there's so many things that could be going on. It used to just be like make content from the show. Like, that was it, like in the beginning, right? It started with audiograms. Like, let's find some clips. We're going to make some audiograms. The very first audiograms you see, actually, almost any of them, except for recently, any audiogram you see, like from our radio, I did it. Like, we did it. Or at one point, I had Ben, the NFT 101. He joined the journey. He started making them with me too. But like, that was it. Just content from the show. Boom. It was like part time. I didn't start out like full time working. It was just like bit by bit. Then it grew to like multiple shows. We got like Rec Radio. They started the night show. They started all these things. So it's like, all right, how can we manage like content for all these shows and figure that out? Then it's like, now we got creators. Now we got like a whole giant group of creators that need like tending to and attention and structure. And even before I was the lead, the creator lead, like, I always had my finger on the creator pulse, because Boo, like, I was the person that kind of like had that personal connection with them, made sure that things were going all right, checked in, that type of thing. Whereas before where I am now, like, the team was very focused on like structure and like, how do we create a system for the creators and this type of thing. So it could be anything, man. There's so many things that could happen, like some really, really cool calls that have happened, like people that I never would have imagined that I would have talked to or met with, as a result of just producing the morning show happen. Like, man, like, there's some really, really big names that like follow my account for no other reason than, I helped produce the show. And that, I thank goodness for that, because it's helped out a lot and where I've gotten to. But so that's usually what it is, man. A lot of calls, a lot of content, and just trying to figure out the future, because Rug Radio is just ever changing, man. Like, I've been there like over a little over a year now, and it's from month to month, week to week, it could just be so different. Like, there's so many different moving parts and pieces, like, that nobody, not even Farouk, like, nobody has a full view of every single thing going on, because it's almost impossible, which is good. It's like becoming this big, untamable beast.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I'm so glad I got you on here, Golden. I'm going to listen back to this for my own self. You know what I mean? And going back to the original thing that you said is like, you were just bullish based on like, your vibe, your general sentiment. You know what I mean? Just like, and that's how like I kind of got into the whole Web3 space, just like how I walk into a store and I check out the quality, the YKK zipper. I make sure it's on there before I spend over $100 on it. You know what I'm saying? But some things go wrong sometimes. Sometimes there's technical issues, there's echoing. Sometimes a guest just completely forgets that they're on the schedule that day. And so what happens, in the back end? Like, how do you guys stay so cool and collect on that big stage? But we all know that it's wild in the back end.
Oh man, it's wild. The tales from the studio are wild, man. It's crazy what goes on back there. But the best thing we have going for us is major, major talent. Like, we can just stick those guys up on a stage, and they can tap dance their way into a nice, happy show for everybody. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, the stuff that I know about them, like maybe their night before, or maybe what's been going on their whole week. You know what I mean? Like, Mando had a baby during the last season. Like, stuff is crazy going on. But that they became really good hosts, right? Like, I know everybody thinks Farouk is this really, really good Spaces host, but that really wasn't his uh vision, 4 or 5 years ago. He's always been in social media, but he didn't think he was going to end up being a freaking podcast host, like, and getting known for that, like, and that's who he is. Luckily, they figured out how to guide things properly and make fun content out of stuff. And like, if it was just honestly, like, if it was just like Mando and OSF, which it originally was, they were trying to do their own show called like Smoking Jackets or something, because they had Bored Apes with the Smoking Aces jackets, yada yada. But they're really dry, right? Like, they know it. Like, and the vice versa, the opposite side of that is Farouk is all energy, charisma, like, he knows how to make something fun. But he doesn't he's not like analyzing a chart or bringing that type of value to people. So that's why they mesh and work well. It's like a complete opposite side of the spectrum balance that works well. And that's how they swing it, man. Like, oh, this guy didn't show up. Well, okay, well, we're just gonna have a regular show. You know what I mean? Let's maybe bring somebody up from the audience, because the show started like that, like tons of audience interaction, tons of people coming up on the stage. And then at some point they didn't let anybody up on the stage. Like, it just became a legit show because they had big sponsors involved and there's certain risks they couldn't take, right? So yeah, I mean, that's how they do it. It's just a little extra talent.
I love what you tapped in on there a little bit. Me and you, we've always vibed because of the honesty, right? Like, yo, man, like you look hungover, you sound hungover. You know what I mean? Like those things, like, like it's good to have that feedback, right? You know what I mean? Like you giving us this raw feedback about how Fro kind of, fell into this, right? Like he had his old Instagram thing, he has his run over there, and now he's over here from Clubhouse, right? And I think it's important to show everybody that anybody can just start doing it, just click and start doing it. But hell, it's not easy. You got to start, right? This is episode 44. We've been doing this since November of 2022. And, every day, it's not easy. You gotta, put the pieces together. Jazz was a little late. I knew he was gonna get here. It's fine. But me, I gotta be like, cool. I even had a backup plan. That's something I always think is good. One thing you touched on a little bit there was the dryness. I want to talk about, there's a lot of space hosts. There's a lot of personalities in the space, right? I've done my fair share of co-hosting, hosting, all that stuff. When do you think, like, isn't it good to know, like, kind of like your Carmelo Anthony's and your Kobe's out here, you know what I mean? And your Shaquille O'Neal's, and knowing when to put them on the stage together? Like, and the reason why I say this, is because I don't always jump up on that Rug Radio stage with Farouk, because guess what? Him and I got some wild energy. We're wild with it, right? And you can't be smashing those atoms all the time, right? Could you go a little bit with that for us, Golden?
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's another way that they also deal with that situation, is strategic guests, right? Like maybe they're talking about a topic that they know somebody in the audience knows about, or has already tweeted about or something, and then they'll call them out right then and there. Like the first one, who's now obviously a superstar, is Punk 9059. Like, man, we made the very first bit of content that he's ever had. Like, it was from Rug Radio, from our stage, because we brought him up and talked about his tweets. Of course, now he's big, major league doing stuff. But that's a really big key thing to do. Like, having the right talent there is huge. We used to have insurance guy was his name. He would come up on the stage sometimes and kind of just like riff on how bullish he was about Rug Radio, and that was like a little balance. Right now, if you listen to the show now, there's this freaking Nakamogos account that comes up and just plays a freaking random song in Arabic or something, and that's their like little balance, because it's good to just have somewhere to throw the ball, right? Like if it's Shaquille down low, whoever it is you're trying to throw the ball to, you know what they're gonna do, right? Maybe it'll be a little unexpected, but you could count on them to do something that's gonna flow with whatever you're doing, and I think it's super important, man.
Thank you so much for following that up. And I would love for people to listen back to that. I think that's really, really important. And it translates to sports teams. It translates to almost anything in life. With that, we're at that 30-minute mark. So if you guys want to request up, ask some questions, throw some flowers, be respectful, we'll get into that. But I still got thousands more questions. And there's always this one question that I ask all my guests, and I cannot not ask it. What is something in the Web3 space you would like to see change, maybe stay the same, or vanish entirely, Golden?
Mm, the barrier is what I would like to see kind of like disintegrate a little bit. And by that, I mean like our exposure to the outside world, based on the way we contain ourselves, right? Like even from a content creator's perspective, like we talk a lot about our own space, we're always talking about things inside our bubble. And I've seen it happen slowly a little bit with certain characters on the timeline. They're just starting to post more things that are about their life, or something interesting to them, the way they would any regular social media thing, instead of just focused on the stuff that we always focus about. And that's what I would like to see more of. Like, I want to see what somebody's cooking, I want to see their cool car, I want to see their kids, their family, their dog, something, I don't know, just regular stuff kind of infiltrate our space more, because that, once it comes in, then it'll be easier to kind of like leak out the other way too, right? Like, that to me is what I would love to see change. You know, there's besides a lot of the glaring obvious issues like drama and all this, but I think that's just humans doing their thing, period. That stuff's never going to go away.
I think that's very solid advice. Jay, did you have a question for Golden?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, and especially about making that connection with people like directly, because I and Boo and I met you in Miami recently. Well, recently being like a half a year ago, but I felt like it was a really important thing to be face to face, right? Like maybe I'm old fashioned, maybe I'm like too like web 1 or web 2 or whatever, but to you, like what is like some of the more, do you a feel that in-person connections are important, and two, what are the more valuable things that you can get from like meeting people in person?
Oh man, yeah, it's I think I value in-person meetings way more now that I'm in this digital space. Like I see how much and how important it is. Some of the almost every really strong connection I have made in this space has either been reinforced through an in-person meeting or something like that, or it started there and that's just like how it is. You know, like that it's so important, especially like when you make a connection digitally with somebody, you know, you don't know what they look like, you don't know anything about them, you have some shared common interest, whether it's a collection, a coin, whatever it is. When you actually meet that person or see them, it's like fireworks no matter what, right? Because you already invested with them, whether you meant to or not. Like you already have emotions and time invested, so that chemistry that happens when you meet them is just amazing. And let it be from somebody that's in a collection you're involved in or something that you actually have a passion for, then it's just amplified. But I've met a lot of other people too that are just in the space. Maybe they go to events and man, like that is like I'm looking at the audience now, like crypto mommy down there. Like I barely met her digitally. You know what I mean? We shared our first space maybe a month or so ago. But I've known her, I don't know, over a year. Like because I met her at NFTLA and we kicked it off there. And then I just kept seeing her at all these events, right? And to me, like I value her as a friend because of that, just because she's in the space and I met her. Like that's enough, right? You know what I mean? She was cool with me. Like I love that stuff. Like I think of when we met, right, in Miami, man, I had no idea what to expect with Jay, right? Because Boo had told me a lot about you. Like me and Boo talked a lot about you, Jay, and I had no clue what to expect, right? He was like, "Oh, she's coming," and you know, you had like just came from wherever you were living, and it was like a big event for him. I had no idea, but then when I met you, and you were like super cool and just like I don't know how to describe it. Like it seemed like somebody like I kind of grew up with. Like you have like a street smart vibe to you, and I hope that's not offensive in any way. But to me, it was just like, man, this chick really is cool, right? Like this is like I see it. I get it, boo. Like it's not just like some type of superficial thing. Like that connection that we have when we actually meet each other and share some type of I don't know vibration energy with them. It's so important, and I kind of think that's why spaces exist and are successful at all because you have that the voice, you have the vibrations from that other people, the other person, and it's live, and you have a chance to interact with them. You can even throwing up a heart or an emoji or something like that is you like expressing something towards the energy that you're receiving, right? And that stuff to me is gold. It's magic.
Yeah, it's probably because I used to do graffiti. So there's that. I'm so flattered and thank you for your kind
There it
words. But
is.
that was it. That's got to be it.
I
Yeah,
love
I saw it right off the bat.
I love that connection. And it's funny how I went from Instagram to going to spaces just to be crazy with my thumb on the emojis. I was like, oh, I'm going to give up Instagram. I'm done. I'm done like moving my thumb. And then here I am. I'm pressing this thumb a million times a day because the reaction's coming off there. There's a lot that Golden also talked about previously that I want to touch on. Alien Friends, incredible community. Shout out Gangster Love. We did a live IRL event in Manhattan for NFT NYC. And not only that, J6, the one and only who did my intro song, came there and performed live for us. I have that spaces recorded. It is going to come out at the end of the year. I'm keeping it for that juicy, mwah, at the end of the year thing. So there's that you talked about. And you're the reason why we got connected, and the one important thing about Rug Radio, right? Radio is a live broadcasting. It's a hallmark of radio. What are some strategies that we employ here at Rug Radio that make it seamless, polished? What do you think to keep these technical glitches at bay? What can we do, Golden?
Communicate. I think that's the first area. Like, talk about the things that went wrong, like use the power of the network. That's where it's at. That's a big part of my initiative, like in my role with Rug Radio, is trying to like reinforce the power of a big network of creators that are all have a similar mindset and trying to do the same thing, because that's how you solve problems. Like, come together, put your heads together and figure something out, figure out a solution. Or the maybe sometimes the best you can do is just preventative measures to try and hope that it doesn't happen again. Rug Radio itself is gone through a lot of growth phases. It's still growing massively. Like, there's things just always changing. The programs we use, the tools that we have, the tools that we make available, the processes we have, all of it's like, yeah, that was good, it worked for that, but we see the flaw, so now we're going to go to this, right? Stay fluid, stay dynamic. That's where it's at. Like, you can't just be set in your ways and hope that things will change or come to you and be a new, better way of existing or something like that. Like, you have to be able to change and do something uncomfortable, because that's how you find the success, right? That's how you'll be like, oh no, this was way better than that. Like, and sometimes you won't see that. You'll be happy with the thing the way it is. And that probably goes for a lot more than just content creation. It's probably like a life thing, but I think it applies.
I think you're absolutely spot on. And I forgot a ground rule, but it's not really a rule, y'all. I implemented from last show. If your name gets mentioned more than 3 times, I request you up. Sorry, it's like that. You know what I mean? So first one up is J6, then Crypto Mama. How are you today, J6?
Hey, how's it going? I hope you can hear me okay. I'm actually at the club right now, so it might be a little noisy. But I got these AirPod Pros. I splurged on them. I'm not gonna lie. I actually stole them from a little kid roller skating. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I digress.
Oh, J6, the man, the legend, the myth, man. Oh, I can't. One day I need to do like a whole documentary series just on J6, man. Like, the guy that I met and then the person I found out who he is, like, oh man, he's such a cool dude in so many ways, man. Shout out to you, J6.
Well, actually, thanks for bringing me up, Boo. Because shout out to you, Golden. I was really psyched to jump into this room because I mean, you guys probably already know it, but Golden is like, you just, not to talk about you in the third person, or is that the right tense? But you're the conduit to I don't know, to the Web3 creators and artists, and I see you supporting so many artists, and in a lot of ways, whether it's buying an NFT, or whether encouraging them on the timeline, or whether helping them out when they're trying to figure out how to use tech. And I don't know, you're just a real, genuine, good person, and you're inspiring in this space. And I'm looking really forward to meeting you in real life. I haven't met you yet, but I'm really stoked. I had the pleasure of meeting Boo, awesome dude, and I really, hopefully, maybe I don't know whether I get out west soon or wherever you're at. I definitely am going to buy the espresso or whatever we're drinking.
Shots of espresso. Let's go. I appreciate you, J6, man. That means a lot, man. It really does. Like, we give I don't think people are stingy with praise in this space, but certain coming from certain people, like, it really hits hard, because I know that it's not like, I know you're not trying to get me out of my bag, right? Like, you're not buttering me up for something. Like, it's just genuine, and I love that, man. I love you,
Actually,
J6.
actually, there was. Can I hold $5? No, no, I'm just kidding.
I got you. I got you. I already sent it over, actually.
I just wanted to I want to say one other thing, but I forgot what it was. Oh no, I appreciated the last week you were on a show and you shared a little bit about just some things, and I thought it was cool too that you were sharing. We're just kind of sharing how we're in this space, and we're we have our afflictions and addictions, and we're all kind of degens in a way. And it's nice hearing other people, especially people that you respect, share their stories a little bit with you. So we're all kind of in here, just kind of trying to find a way and to do things. But anyway, I don't want to hog the mic, but much love and respect.
Yo, I got to give context right now for J6. people who have been listening to this show for a while would be like, why the hell is Boo letting this person speak with all this background sound and music? Yo, that is the person who did our jingle intro and outro, and they're working right now at the club, the strip club. Yo, so support them. And I didn't know if he was asking, holding $5 from you or maybe a stripper. That was wild. I love that. Crypto Mama, how are you today?
Hi, it's mommy.
Crypto Mommy. Sorry, I only see the crypto part and I just went off what he said. Apologies. Names are important. My name's Boo, not Bob.
Okay. Hi, Boo. Nice to meet you. This is my first time talking today. I've been doing emails and texts all day. You know, when you email and text, you can hear the other person's voice. So I thought I had 100 conversations today, and I just realized I haven't spoken out loud. But it's good to be here. I wanted to support Golden, of course. Hi, Golden. Have we been in a space together?
Only one space, right?
My
Like I
space.
feel yeah, it was, well, not Facebook, it was your space. That was what it was. I joined your space one time. She
That's
held
so
a
funny.
dating space, the dating space that was so freaking fun and funny. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. We actually just know each other in real life, guys. Like,
Genuine and solid, right?
nice. How
I'm
have you
gonna tell
been?
the funny story. When I like first ran into you, you were with
Uh-oh.
Jen Facino. Don't worry, it's not incriminating to you. It's kind a
Like, oh
little bit
no.
to her. Yeah, a little bit to her. It was funny though. Like it was in the like downtown LA, like super. Maybe it wasn't the first time. It was one of the first times though. But we were in downtown LA, right? And there was an event. I think it was Loser Club or something being thrown. Like, and it was in a super just grungy downtown area, right? There was all these like bums and transients everywhere, like leading up to the actual venue. So I go there and I didn't even go in. I'm like leaving and I see Jen and Crypto Mommy like leaving, right? And I walk up to him, I was like, hey, how's it going? And Jen looks at me like I was a bum, right? Like I was homeless at that time. And she's like, oh yeah, no, thank you. And they started like booking it. I was like, no, wait, no.
Wait,
Like,
what?
yeah, it was so funny. It was so funny. Like we didn't even know each
No.
other solid at that time. That's what I mean. Like it wasn't even like it was hilarious to me. So I always, every time I talk
No.
to Jen, I make fun of her about that because she remembers.
Wait, was that when it was raining?
It was all the bad. It was dark. It was rainy. There was like I said, like there was a lot of
Oh my
people
god, we
asking
were
for a lot of
running. We're
money,
like,
and
we
we were
have to get out of the rain. We were running, and then we were like shocked because, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. I'm embarrassed.
it's so funny. But yeah, no, every time, just so everybody knows, like Crypto Mommy is like an amazing event planner. She's kind of like the most interesting woman in the world. Like if you really get to
Stop.
like, I'm serious. You have like so many crazy stories and things that are like, what are you even doing? Like you have so many things going on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Hey, Crypto Mammy, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What do you got coming up event wise? I love IRL events. Is there anything coming up event wise? And then why do you think these events are so important to touch bread, break bread IRL?
So events in the Web2 space. So I do experiential marketing. So it's a little bit different than like what we're used to in the Web3 space. And when I originally came in this space, I wanted to bring what I was doing before here, but let's be honest, nobody has a budget for that, or they don't have the skill set to get the type of sponsors or partnerships that would be needed for that. And I've just been patiently biding time to do something like of that quality or caliber. So, but I think events are important just in general, like even with Golden and I, right? Like that's how we connected was through events. And there's a lot of people in the space I met in real life through events and just establishes a better bond or a better relationship when you meet someone face to face. Even with meetings, like I'm one of the ones that prefers I would rather drive an hour to West Hollywood to sit down with you at coffee than have a Zoom call because I just feel like it's more beneficial to sit down face to face. So I think that's what events do for us, especially since a lot of Web3 lifted off during the pandemic when we were stuck at home. We had zero social lives. In LA, we actually had a curfew at one point. So like we really couldn't leave our houses. So for us, I think it's just vital to be able to like solidify that connection and the person that we're talking to, kind of weed through people a little bit faster as well. But yeah, as far as coming up, I haven't done anything big in a minute. I think the biggest and last client I had was Coca-Cola. Was it Coca-Cola?
Rad. I
My
couldn't agree
garage
more
is
about how this
full.
space needs to mature as a whole as far as these
But
events go. I've done enough of these IRL events. It's like herding kittens up here. It's like herding kittens. Yo, I wouldn't be a
yeah.
good host if I didn't talk about your setup here, Golden. If anybody's checking out the video stream, which is beautiful, by the way, check out the video stream. Golden's got his headset on. He's got an expensive mic. But me, I just got my phone. I just got my MacBook. You know, Jay's upstairs with a green screen. Like, Golden, can you go into how different everybody can do this here and how you won't be just, you can do it all different ways. And you know how like software like Descript is one of those things that we use daily almost.
Yeah, there are so many good tools out there and so many different ways that you can get to where you're trying to go making content. Well, no matter what your level is, right? Hobbyist, want to take it to the extremes and get paid for it. Like, you don't need anything, but you definitely don't want to do nothing, right? Like, and that doesn't mean like you can't do it all from your phone. Like, you definitely can if you I'm gonna use Farouk for a million examples because I see this dude every single day. But up until, I don't know, like August of last year, this guy was doing all of his spaces on his phone. Like, he built the whole Rug Radio empire off of his freaking phone. He didn't have a mic, he didn't have any of that stuff, right? So you don't need anything, right? But to separate yourself is usually the reason that you might want to upgrade some equipment, especially starting out. The reason I splurged and like got a bunch of shit is because I was tired of catching wind on the actual morning show. Like, I would pop in sometimes and then my stuff would be subpar. Like, I would listen to the recording, be like, what is this? Or sometimes I would go, there was a time where I couldn't even remember the guy's name, but he made a cartoon about everybody that was on the space that day. He went around and did that for a bunch of spaces. And that day he did it, like, I was sounding like I was underwater. So my little image was a scuba guy, like in a 1950s scuba outfit. And I was like, oh no, I can't be the freaking producer in Rug Radio and like be Scuba Steve sounding like I'm underwater all the time. So that was my motivation to get stuff because, again, like, I'm not like necessarily being a host and using all this stuff all the time, but I needed to have what I considered the top quality. And now, like, don't tell them, but my stuff's like better than Farouk and all of them now. Like, man, woo. I got what I wanted to get from the jump. The Roadcaster, right? That's like a common name or brand that's thrown around in our space, and it's I feel like they just kind of locked the market. And there's so many different tools that do the exact same thing. Like, and the Roadcaster is really expensive. It's like at least like $600 for like the cheapest one, and it doesn't do anything special that you couldn't do for maybe $200 or something. The cool part about it is that it's all in one package. Yeah, you pulled it up on street. See in the corner? That's me, Scuba Steve, right there. The bottom right corner. That's hilarious. Um, but yeah, there's the Roadcaster. The cool thing about it is, like, say if you needed to host a podcast live and you had 4 people with 4 different setups, you could all plug into that thing and boom, bada bing. It might be the best for doing something like that at that price range. But everybody in our space is just sitting in their basement hosting spaces alone. So you don't really need to have this 4 channel mega machine that's like doing all this stuff. So there's a lot of different options, and anybody who's listening to this and has questions about that stuff, you can hit me up in my DMs and I'll point you to like different options for different price ranges. There's cloud lifters for mics. There's all these different things you could do for very, very minimum if you're trying to upgrade your equipment. And then software rise, that's probably the more important thing is software. Because you can elevate your game a lot using software like Descript for content. That thing is just amazing. It's a transcription service initially, like that's its primary function. But from that, it allows you to edit videos and make little clips, and you do it all text based. Whereas most apps or most programs, like you got to have like soft video editing understanding, right? Like, you have to have when you see like a timeline with different things spliced up and waves and all this crap, like, it can be overwhelming. And Descript doesn't make you do that. Like, you can edit everything through text. Like, for instance, say you had a paragraph that was transcribed, said, "Hi, my name is Boo." you could just highlight the letters BOO, press delete, and boom, it clips it out of the video and it's good to go. Like it's amazing. And Rug Radio is actually building a bunch of tools like that too in our creator portal, like trying to implement AI because everybody's trying to implement AI as much as possible because the idea, the dream of lowering your human capital and like having to spend less there and having a machine do it has really set things on fire. I, for one, I'm less hopeful about its abilities because I'm just disappointed every time I use a lot of the AI tools. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where that goes.
That was incredible. Thank you for all of that. Yes, you do not have to spend $600 to get the quality audio he is doing right now. And you know what? You did sound like you were underwater that episode, and they nailed that bell helmet diving there for real. Crypto Mammy, you got your hand raised. What's good?
Yeah, I don't know. You guys probably already asked Golden this and I missed it. So if you did, you don't have to reiterate it. I can listen back. But when you talk about content creation and like the production and setup side of it and audio, like it's like a foreign language for me. It's like someone hearing about crypto for the first time. So I'm curious, when did you start creating content? I feel like that's a new phrase, but do you feel like you started that before Web3 and before Reg Radio?
No, not at all. I still don't feel like I create content, to be honest. Like I have ideas
What?
and things I want to do, but I still don't feel like I've stepped all the way into my content creator's shoes just yet. But yeah, like before that, like honestly, crypto mommy, like I was anti-social media. Like I didn't make a freaking Facebook my whole life. Like no MySpaces, none of that. Like I was like, no way, you're never gonna catch me on any of that. Like I'm just that is not my jam. You know what I mean? Like I was not gonna be on. I specifically like had some type of I don't know boycott against anything Meta. I mean, it wasn't even Meta at that time, right? Like anything Facebook, like no, I wouldn't even get WhatsApp. Like no, nothing, like nothing related to any of that. I got turned out by crypto. Crypto was like, yeah, hop on Twitter, and I that's my name, Golden Crypto, right? Is just because I made a bot account on Twitter. Like that was the purpose of this account was just to join giveaways to try and win my first NFT.
Into another question I wanted to ask, but it was kind of off topic. But then you made it on topic for me. Skidley, he's an incredible guest of our show. He joins every single week, and he asked a question down in the bottom there. And I think this is when you were talking about being a mechanic, Golden. And he was saying, "I'd love to hear what the transition from a hands-on job to a Web3 job was like. What was the hardest part, and what was the most rewarding about changing?"
Yes, yes, the man, the phew, ah, man. to me is really cool. But I did want to hear what you were gonna say, Crypto Mommy. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I tweeted it.
Ooh,
I said, "Is Golden Crypto a bot?" I was like, "Did he just confirm to us that he's a bot?"
yes, yes, yes. That's what my whole design was, just to be a bot and disappear on the timeline. Like that was it. And then yeah, now I'm a slight personality on here. It's crazy. Who would have thought?
We lost audio on YouTube. Oh well, that's Rug Radio. We keep it fucking on brand here. I
Keep it
got
rugging.
only 3 more minutes with this incredible guest. Oh my gosh, I almost doxed you. Golden. I almost said the other word. Golden.
I'm Jazz,
You've been
baby. It's all
amazing
good.
on here. Yo, what are some artists that we should check out that you don't think are getting enough light? You know what I mean? Like, you know me, I'm always looking for them underground peoples or projects or whatever. You know, what art wise? Like, what are you out there looking at?
I've been a little disconnected these past few months, man. Like I haven't really been tapped in because the honestly the job's like taken a lot. It's been a lot, like really involved, and I haven't had a lot of fun. I haven't been minting anything. I mean, nobody's been minting a lot, right? But collection wise and artist wise, like I had a really, if you're curious about stuff, like I would recommend on a Tuesday inquiring about Tezos. Do that and they will respawn. Use hashtag Tezos and it's over. It's a wrap. You'll get flooded with tons of like really cool artists that have ambition and stuff. That part is a way to go. But individual artists, like I don't know, I have like my little crew of artists that I mess with, and I would plug some of them, but it's also like I don't feel like they're trying to go down this huge major route, and I think that's why I kind of like mess with them to begin with, because it's not like a shill. Like the stuff they're doing is not like just some giant shill. So like there's, I don't know, I'll plug like Mobsolete. Nobody knows about Mobsolete out there. He's a young dude doing his thing. um who else, like photographer, why, like Kyle Munson. He's like a low key dude, man. Like takes like California photos and stuff. Like I like fighting for the underdog all the time. So anybody that's not getting light, those are the people that I like to mess with and like to try and support, because that's been me my whole life. Like, like it's always been it's been a struggle to get out there and get exposure in anything business wise, like trying to sell a paint job, whatever it is, like any of that stuff. It's always tough. So I always feel for that, for the people that are trying to do their thing but haven't quite got the light yet. And if that's you and you're listening, hit me up. Send me your art.
Yes, please jump in those DMs. Golden will look out for you. Golden, this has been an incredible hour. And like I said, it's already 7 o'clock. Like I said, it would be, because it just goes by like that fast. And I had him on a call the other day. It was supposed to last 30 minutes, y'all. I got him for 55. It was great. Golden, I got to give you the second to last word before we close out here. Is there anything you want to say to our audience, to your fans out there? Anything? We found out you were a bot today. We found out a lot of incredible stuff. The fucking headlight on the right side of my truck is broken. Please fly out here and fix it for me. I'll put you up for a couple days.
I got you. As soon as I fix it though, your wipers might stop working or something. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? Last words, just shout out to the people out there supporting, man. I love, oh my gosh. My sister's in the audience. Alasia, I love you. Woo! Good to see you out there. J Toys, my guy. Anybody who's like, man, J Toys is gonna be a rising star. Everybody should check that dude out, man. His content is killer if you haven't already seen him. Earl, my guy, Earl, man. Like, man, Earl, like I 3RL, I always say Earl in my head. That's just my, I have that for a lot of people. I say my own version of your name, even if I think it's incorrect. But I like, he's one of those people that I genuinely like. There's a few people in the Rug Radio community that kind of just surface, and maybe they're doing their own thing now, but there's a certain core group of people that I will just always ride for because of the time that you entered my scene, right? Like, and to me, that it's just like that's worth a lot of social points to me, a lot of social currency. So I'll always fly my flag for people like Earl. Tanya too, man. Tanya, shout out to the Rug Down, everybody doing their thing over there. Like I love seeing those people. I know Level was in here earlier. Everybody down there, man. I love people that support people, because that's what this is about. Like hopefully we do we're able to see some really strong success stories of Web3 working out in that way, where we are able to support each other and build each other up and get each other paid, right? Like hopefully we see more of that happening in the end, in like once the bull's returning and the people who are here actually trying to build, quote whatever, like hopefully that plays out and we're able to execute on that narrative of us building each other up, taking each other with us, and having something to show for it in the end.
I had to do a little pause there because that was so incredible. Thank you so much, Golden, for coming up here. Crypto Mommy, J6 that came up here. He shouted out the whole audience, which I appreciate doing that. He clearly is right for the job he is doing. Shout out to Artifact Creators for always doing what they do. Yes, they created an entire like render of us with a Rug Radio mug on the Artifact Creators website. It's incredible. Go check it out. On a serious note, be careful of links. A lot of degen shit coins out there, a lot of wildness out there. Make sure you're checking on stuff. If there's a post and you can't reply to it, that's a fucking red flag. All right. With that, you know, I'm going to be back next week, Thursday, and also Tuesday with On Cyber, Kevin on Earth, Brandon Baster. We are working, y'all. We are doing mad things. Jump in my DM. Tell me if I'm too loud. Tell me if I need to do things right. Tell me if I'm too quiet. Tell me if I need to turn it down a notch. Tell me if I need to not cut people off. With that, I love the critiques. I love it all. And we're out with the incredible outro song by J6. Yo, throw them dollars, baby. Have a good night, everybody. Web3.